Hey, good Tuesday morning, everybody. Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich here. Let's talk about the remnants of Ida and the risk for flash flooding for parts of the mountains and that small tornado risk for the Piedmont, which is something that's going to be, I'll be watching it honestly all day long. Now, looking at the remnants of Ida, there's no longer any advisory, so I can't even show you the track of it, but I do know where the remnants are going. You can still see the center spinning what's left of it over Huntsville, Alabama. Now, the center of Ida is going to do this. It's going to move up in this direction. The problem is you see this big band that has been pretty consistent since post-landfall, well east of the center. That little area is the one we're watching because that is what's going to get pulled through here. And you can see that band extends from Tennessee all the way back down to the Gulf of Mexico. So where does this band move? Now, it's not going to race out ahead of the system because if it does, as you've seen with some of these bands trying, they run into sinking air. So the air isn't really conducive for storms to develop. But along this line, as it moves in tandem, that's when we'll see the risk for potentially not only flash flooding, but severe weather. So let's look first at the day one, what we call convective outlook. I will remove some of the data here so it's much easier to see. We'll take the radar off real quick. So this is the severe weather outlook today. You can see the medium risk along that line, which I'll put the line back up. You can see where it is. I'll turn off. But you see this low risk for the Western Carolinas, which includes most of the Charlotte area back into Asheville, up to, up towards areas around Statesville, all the way back in the mountains. Anybody in yellow has a risk for an isolated tornado today. And then up here, there's a stalled front, which is enhancing their severe weather up here. That's a whole nother issue. You see that front just to the north? That's eventually going to become the main player in this. So that's a severe weather risk today. We'll go to tomorrow, which is Wednesday. You can see that threat as the remnants merge with the cold front. There will be a medium risk from Raleigh east, and then we'll still be in a low risk. And primarily that's because this line is going to be moving up in this direction through time. So the transition from here to here, that's why you see kind of Charlotte in between. A lot of that's going to happen, honestly, overnight as it pushes off to the north and east. So that's the risk for severe weather. Let's go back to the rainfall. We've also got a risk for some flash flooding, and I'm going to pop up the flash flood risk. So this is the flash flood risk. Green is low, medium, high. So you see the medium risk for the mountains today. We go to tomorrow. The whole area is in the low risk, but look at along this front. Boy, this is going to be a big problem, I think, tonight and tomorrow up into Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Maryland, and Western Virginia. And then we go to day 3, and that threat shifts up into New England. So, this flash flood risk is legit. In the mountains, we'll watch. This will be the risk today as the whole system pushes off to the east. So let's take a look at the Futurecast. Okay, so this is our rapid refresh high resolution model. So I love showing this because this is kind of why I waited a little bit longer to do my vlog today. I love getting the latest data because this updates so frequency and makes adjustments to what's happening. So we'll go through, let's say, about 3 o'clock this afternoon. Not a whole lot happening. So the first half of today is fine. As we get into the evening hours, roughly around 6 o'clock, we're starting to see some rain move into the mountains. Notice some storms trying to develop in the upstate, but the main line is still back to the west. Now, as we go into the overnight, this is 8 o'clock, there might be a couple bands we're going to have to watch for possible weak rotation. We go to 9 o'clock. So that first line, something to keep an eye on, but it looks like it outruns everything. And this is the overnight hours. So this is midnight tonight into Wednesday morning. You could see the heavy rain in the mountains, but not a whole lot across the Piedmont. So this is why the risk overall is low. Doesn't mean 1 or 2 of these storms couldn't spin up, but the risk overall is low right now because the timing of the day actually probably works out a little bit for us that we'll lose some of the heating. But as we go into tomorrow morning, now this is 7 a.m., the main line looks like it's beginning to push through and off to the east. We go into tomorrow afternoon, and boy, talk about heavy rain. This is why that risk to the north is such a big deal. But down here, you could see some isolated scattered stuff. We go into the afternoon. Ooh, daytime heating. Okay, this probably is something to keep an eye on, but I'm also wondering about this tomorrow afternoon. So as much as we're watching today, don't discount tomorrow afternoon because these lines are moving through tomorrow afternoon and then pushing off to the east tomorrow night. And then by late tomorrow into early Thursday, the whole system is gone. And we finally get rid of that system. So let's take a look at a product that I show often called Rotational Tracks, which basically is going to show you the potential for updraft helicity. Basically, are we going to see rotating storms? So we'll go through this afternoon. You see a couple storms in the upstate that try to develop. You see those two storms there? They kind of move up. So got to keep an eye on those two storms right there, which that's roughly around 5, 6 o'clock tonight. But they quickly weaken. I'm going to go back one frame and kind of show you this line. We'll go into the overnight hours, into tomorrow morning. Just not a lot showing up. So that's a good sign that the model at least is not showing a ton of rotation, but you can see every once in a while, one or two of these cells look like they begin to rotate. And that's one of those things you always watch for, because that's the potential that you're going to get one or two to rotate. Now, one of the things that I look at too is what we call CAPE. Let me pull this up real quickly. Is the fuel for thunderstorms. So we go through today. There's a little bit of fuel there, but not a ton. Go into tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, actually, into the afternoon, looks to be more of a fuel setup. And that's why I think these areas of eastern North Carolina, this is tomorrow, by the way, that's why you saw that medium risk there. So that's an area I think actually is a bigger concern. But we'll keep an eye on it today. Let's go back to what's happening right now. I'm going to remove this all out of here. We'll put the data back on here. So that's a look at the system right now. It's all watching this band. But I can tell you right now, nothing's going to happen during most of the daylight hours today. The threat really would be tonight into early Wednesday. So you've got no issues today. Of course, I'll be tracking it throughout the afternoon, and I will post updates frequently. I don't expect to see any tornado watches today or anything. We might see one down in Georgia, maybe the upstate of South Carolina today. But right now, it doesn't look like the threat is high enough that we would see a watch. But it doesn't mean we couldn't see an isolated tornado. Probabilities around 1 to 2% of a tornado within 25 miles of anywhere on the map today.